Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. I'm your host, Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to take a look at NBA legends giving their opinion on how good Julius Erving, aka Dr.j, really was. But before we dive into today's episode, let me give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video. This video is brought to you by Manscaped, the global brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. Now, usually we only talk about the basketball on this channel, but Manscaped takes care of a different type of balls. You probably noticed that I didn't promote too many products on my show, simply because I don't want to promote stuff that I don't use. And Manscaped is just great. They offer the best tools and liquid formulations for the big three odor zones: your body, your butt, and yeah, obviously the balls. They recently hooked me up with their Performance Package 4.0, and I gotta say it's amazing. For example, the Lawnmower 4.0. I always had the problem that I could not use my former razor under the shower. But this right here is a waterproof trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology, which basically reduces nicks and cuts on the most sensitive regions of your body. Another cool thing is that the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer has a cordless charging system and these little LED lights on the front to show how much juice you got left. Also included in the Performance Package 4.0 kit are two amazing products you just gotta have: the Crop Preserve for ball deodorant and the Crop Reviver. Simply apply the Crop Preserver after your shower for all-day body odor protection. But we're not done yet. You also gotta check out the Weed Whacker Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer. It's a wireless nose trimmer with the same skin-safe technology. For a limited time, you can get all of this plus 2 free gifts. Click on the link in the description box and get 20% off plus free shipping plus 2 gifts when you use my promo code at the checkout. Manscaped, always use the right tools for the job. Now, the first player's opinion that we're going to take a look at is Magic Johnson's, and he's talking about one of the most iconic moves of Dr.j. Let's have a look.
Man, he did a move which is the all-time greatest move I've seen. When we cut him off baseline, he started walking in air, got the ball in one hand. And we said, wait a minute, he's got to come down. There's no way he can stay in the air that long.
At 84, Sixers, and they get inside. Doctor with his magic shot.
Cooper and I said, should we ask him to do it again? We've never seen anything like that before. It was crazy.
And the next player's opinion that we're going to take a look at is Bill Walton's, and he's not only talking about the great player Dr.j, but also shows what a great person Dr.j was, or is. Let's have a look.
Bill, because I want to know, next up, what were you thinking when Dr.j
Dr.j was
you.
the single most vibrant, exciting, dynamic player I ever played against by far. Kareem was the best player.
Right.
But Dr.j, what he did, coming down the lane, oh my gosh, I'm there, I have it. Oh, come on, ref. He's using my shoulder as a catapult there, please.
When did you realize that this wasn't going to go the way you thought it was?
Today. So Dr.j, the classiest dude ever. We're in the same Hall of Fame class, and they went alphabetical order. And so they get to Dr.j first, and I'm at the very end. And every one of his highlight films was him dunking on me. Everyone, and the crowds, ooh, man. And so Dr.j gets up there, and the classy dude that he is, because everybody thought, I'm throwing it down in Bill's face, right? Dr.j gets up there, calm and dignified as can be, much like me, and he says, he says, ladies and gentlemen, just please note that Bill's team, they won that championship.
Oh. There we go.
Against Malone, pass is deflected, going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slammed.
He's on a break, so he can't think about what he's going to do. Instincts just take over. It's just, you have to have that in your game, in your DNA.
To come from the sideline, where you rocking the ball one side to the next and you got a defender in front of you. And defender knew when he got in the air that he had no chance.
You know, he brought so much creativity to the game.
Here comes Julius Erving. You know what's next. Oh, what a shot by the Dr.
You know, the under the hand against the Lakers where you're behind the basket. We all tried to do it once he did it.
What a play by Erving. That's a play that only Julius could make.
I guess I would have never had those visions if I hadn't have seen Dr. J in his time.
I definitely remember Julius Erving. I was at that stage, I guess, where I really got into basketball when he was sort of in his prime. Dr. J, to me, was the NBA, and I just remember him dunking on everybody.
Dr. J was a beautiful basketball player to watch. And no grace, style, fly through the air. He dominated games when he wanted to. Dominated. And he just said, okay, that's it. My show tonight, I'm gonna affect the whole game. He just dominated with grace and style. Oh, man.
Julius Erving with an incredible shot.
Even looking back at it now, and I'm in the NBA and I'm playing, and I appreciate even more the stuff that he's done.
He played above the rim, he played around the rim, underneath. You know, he did a lot of different things, and you have to give the credit to Dr. J.
Come into the league.
Doctor.
Doc's in your locker room. Did you approach him and say, hey, I'm Charles Barkley? Did he see you and say, welcome? How did that all work?
I've told this story 100 times and I never get...
I must not have been listening.
I told the brothers. Just the brothers. Ernie, the night before training camp, I was up all night. I was nervous, because it was my first training camp, obviously. But the number one thing I thought about the whole night was, how am I going to approach Dr. J? Do I call him Dr. J, Julius, Mr. Erving? I had cold sweats thinking about that. And so I'm sitting in the locker room, because first of all, not only that, Moses, Bobby Jones, Andrew Toney, Maurice Cheeks, like the Sixers, this was their heyday. So I was up like, God, I want to see all these guys I've been watching on TV. I don't know what to do. And Doc was clearly at the forefront. And I'm sitting there, I'm in the locker room, and I said, well, I don't know what to do. And Doc comes over and said, hey, young fella, I'm Doc. And I said, I'm Charles Barkley. Ernie, I can't explain how nervous I was. Because like I said, that's when the Sixers was in their heyday. And seeing Doc and Moses Maurice and Bobby and all those guys, but Doc was the guy. That's one thing I always, like, we'll all have this in common. When we're growing up as little kids, there's very few players, the kids, say, I'm Dr. J, I'm John Havlicek, I'm Magic Johnson, I'm Larry Bird. We all got somebody, who we are. And man, Doc was the guy for most people, especially somewhere like me where we don't have NBA basketball in Alabama.
But the entertainment, my friend, is in the style.
The Doctor, oh brother.
Julius was like that bird coming in on the wing, swooping in.
We always looked at Dr. J as like an alien. Where'd this guy come from? Look at what he does out on the court. My God, there was nobody like him.
Me and Darryl Dawkins over there. He was the first guy I ever saw with air brakes. Air brakes. He was going to the basket straight, and all of a sudden he said, and started going sideways.
How did he do that?
I was like, somewhat like a girl. Oh, Doc, oh. Never saw that before.
I didn't realize how long I had been in the air, but I knew I didn't have any legs left, and I didn't have any hang time left, so I fell on the floor. And Michael? Well, Dr. J is who you would start your league with. And he's the guy who could be an ambassador for the league, and he could be a spokesman, and his style of play was infectious. So he create all of those things that those three had. Dr. J was the first league ambassador.
Bro really set him apart, especially in his ABA days, coming in, merging into the NBA. But look, I grew up a Laker fan, and in '83, obviously, when Philly played the Lakers, how many of us here, seriously, after that move, when he went baseline and he held it, and how many of us went outside and tried to do that? We didn't have the big hands, but we all tried to be like Dr. J. We all tried to sail. We all tried to jump from the free throw line. I think he originally won the first slam dunk competition.
Reg, you mentioned the fro. How about the shoes?
Yeah.
Isn't he the first guy who had his own shoe? Remember the Converse Dr.j?
I think you're right, Steve.
I don't think anybody else up
Chuck
to that
Taylor.
point had their own Chuck Taylor. All right.
Doc was the first brand.
Yeah.
I think when also to echo Charles, because Doc lives here in Atlanta and I'm still with him, being around him, you're still nervous around Doc. I still go up to him and I say, Doc, how you doing? And he said, I'm fine, Steve. He still has that fatherly figure over you. And like you said, Kenny, he's an ambassador of the league. I mean, Dr. J is something my dad talks about, my granddad talks about, I still talk about. I mean, I think he'll go one player like Michael, and those players will go through generations after generation.
Dr. J was not only probably the best player in ABA history, but also in the 1980s, one of the most iconic players, and we owe such a great deal to Dr. J. So Dr. J, thanks a lot for what you have done in the NBA history. All right, you guys, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to like the video and also subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.